be treated the same way. Trust me on this. Visit nimnikchevy.com or stop by Nimnik Chevrolet today. Remember, the largest inventory, the best prices, 0% financing. Where do you get that? I can tell you, nobody knows that better than I do. And I can tell you where to get it. Nobody but Nimnik.
When you're a little kid on the playground, they tell you don't hit back. Well, the courtroom isn't a playground. And if you've suffered an injury or death in your family, I'm here to tell you it's okay to hit back and fight to make them pay. I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and at Hastings Injury Law, we understand all the pain and emotion that comes with being wrong. And we've dedicated our lives to making things right for people like you. So if you get hit back with Hastings Injury Law. Offices, Jacksonville.
Go where the air is fresh and nature is your landscape.
Amazing, isn't it?
We go to the great outdoors with Jeff Lageman, Captain Kevin Favor, and Captain Kirk Waltz on the Nimnik Outdoors Show every Saturday morning from 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
Do you have numbness and tingling in your fingers, or wake up at night and have to shake your hand? Hi, I'm Dr. George Bari, and at Bari Orthopedics, we have a myriad of treatments that can possibly help you. If you have numbness and tingling, you may have carpal tunnel. You have cortisone injections, PRP injections, and shockwave therapy that may help treat the numbness and tingling that you have. We also treat it surgically with endoscopic carpal tunnel release, a 2-centimeter incision that will release the nerve and have you back at work and doing what you want to do in life in no time. If you have numbness and tingling in your hand, give us a call at Bari Orthopedics or log on at bariorthopedics.com.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Get ready for PGA Tour champions to return to Hammock Beach Golf Resort and Spa for the 2026 Constellation Furyk and Friend, October 9th to 11th.
Hey everyone, this is Jim Furyk. Join us this fall for world-class golf, incredible food, live music, and an unforgettable weekend on the iconic Ocean Course.
Plus, don't miss country music star Billy Currington live at the Furyk Foundation concert on Friday, October 9th. For tickets and info, visit ConstellationFurykandFriends.com.
Hacker here for Cornerstone Interior Solutions. If your AC is working overtime every summer, your insulation may be the problem. Homeowners and builders across Northeast Florida are calling Cornerstone to upgrade to spray foam insulation. It seals homes, crawl spaces, garages, blocking in cool air and blocking out heat. So your home stays cooler, your system runs easier, and your energy bills stay under control. Don't wait for peak heat. Visit CornerstoneInteriorSolutions.com.
Longer days, warmer nights, and a backyard that brings everyone together. Spring and summer in Florida means pool days, backyard barbecues, and night swims under the stars. Picket here for nearly 50 years, Surfside Pools have been creating the backdrops for life's best memories. From weekly service and repairs to remodels, commercial maintenance, and new pool construction, Surfside does it all. Ready to float happy? SurfsidePools.net or call 904-246-2666. Surfside Pools, summer starts here. License number CPC 044080.
When your home or business deserves more than ordinary glass, you trust the experts. Capital Glass and Shower Doors has been elevating spaces for over 40 years with precision, craftsmanship, and clean, modern design. From sleek frameless shower enclosures to elegant glass railings, wine cabinets, and any custom glass that makes a statement, Capital Glass delivers unmatched quality, service, and attention to detail. Your vision, their expertise. Capital Glass and Shower Doors at capcoglass.com.
I'm Sheriff Justice with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update brought to you by Awaken 180. Yahoo Sports have ranked the Jaguars 16th in their preseason power rankings. The Florida Gators 2026 fall camp dates have been revealed. The Gators will begin camp on August 5th and then hold scrimmages on Saturday, August 15th and August 22nd. The Florida Gators are a 1 seed in Joe Lenardi's July bracketology update. Other 1 seeds are Michigan, Illinois, and Duke. It's 87 degrees at 6 o'clock time and temp. Brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Wednesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, Before Dark. In for Rick Ballou here on 1010XL and 92.7 FM with Jared Justice, the hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are spending part of your Wednesday evening with us. A Wednesday evening that has us, 2 weeks away from Jaguar training camp. In fact, 2 weeks from today, they will have the first practice for Jaguar training camp down at the Miller Electric Center. ACC Media Days, or the ACC Kickoff, as it's referred to, is going on up in Charlotte, North Carolina. Next week will be the SEC Media Days. We'll certainly talk a lot of college football tonight. Our NFC South preview will continue. We've already made stops in Tampa and Atlanta. Tomorrow night, we will go to Charlotte. That means tonight, it's all about the New Orleans Saints and Travis Etienne, or as you and I know him, ETN, and his new home with New Orleans. So we'll do a deep dive on the Saints offseason as well as our NFC South preview continues. But don't want to bury the lead. What just transpired about an hour ago up in Atlanta, Georgia. You witness greatness, right? And that's what Messi is in the sports world, in the soccer world. Absolutely incredible. Argentina down 1-0 with about 5 minutes and change to go. They had hit the post a couple of times. The English goalkeeper had made some ridiculous stops. You think it's just not Argentina's day. And then they finally break through in the 86th minute with a goal to tie it at 1. And then 6 minutes later, in stoppage time, Lionel Messi puts a ball in that is one of the best balls you'll ever see, served up right to his teammate, heads it in the back of the goal. Argentina, 2 goals in the span of 6 minutes and 24 seconds to defeat England 2-1. What a job by Argentina. What absolute devastation for England. Probably equal measures of both. And what a World Cup, man. I know once the United States got knocked out last Monday that maybe a little bit of the luster had come off for some of you. But that game today was incredible. And now Argentina advances to the final on Sunday up at MetLife Stadium at the Meadowlands to take on Spain. It is the current European champion, Spain, and the current South American champion and defending world champion in Argentina at the World Cup final. Couple of angles on this that I want to get to. One of which, the main one, we can all relate to. Everybody listening, whether you're a soccer fan or not, you're going to relate to this. And I want to get some feedback from you guys on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures at 904-641-1010, 904-641-1010. We'll get to that in a moment. Quickly to the other big topic, which is Messi. You know, I brought this up a couple of weeks ago, how lucky we are as a sports community, sports fandom community, in what we've seen over the last, say, 25-ish years. We've gotten to see, arguably, the 3 best men's tennis players of all time in Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic, and Rafael Nadal. We've gotten to see arguably the best women's tennis player of all time in Serena Williams. We've gotten to see arguably the best quarterback that's ever lived in Tom Brady. We've gotten to see arguably the 2 best basketball players that have ever lived in Michael Jordan and LeBron James, if you go back 30 years. We also got to see the likes of Shaq and Kobe and Duncan, Nowitzki, you name it. It's been a great era, 25, 30, 35-year era for the NBA. We've gotten to see arguably the best golfer, arguably. Certainly Jack Nicklaus probably has something to say about that, but in Tiger Woods. We've gotten to see Jimmy Johnson and how many NASCAR championships he's won. We've gotten to see unbelievable players in the NHL like Sidney Crosby, Alexander Ovechkin, among others. Baseball, that's probably the one sport that we haven't had a generational talent. I mean, we still refer to Babe and DiMaggio and Gehrig and Mantle and all those guys from way, way in the past, although we've gotten to see the likes of Trout and Ohtani and Ichiro and Jeter and A-Rod. I mean, great players. Lionel Messi, from a global standpoint, is probably, if they win the World Cup on Sunday, which would be the first nation to win back-to-back World Cups in like decades. I think you got to go back to Brazil. I think I read this, like 58 and 62, since the last time a same country won 2 World Cups back-to-back. If they pull that off, globally, Messi at that point might be considered to be the best athlete of all time. He won't be in this country, and I understand that. And I don't know if he should be considered that in this country. But from a global standpoint, he probably will be, if he's not already, mind you, if they beat Spain on Sunday. He's 39 years old. And 2 assists today. He was the reason that Argentina won. They would not have won the game if it was not for Messi's performance today. The one that we can all relate to, every one of us, Jared, myself, all of you listening. You know, the game ended 90 minutes ago, actually less than 90 minutes ago. It's unbelievably fresh. And there's already videos coming out of like pubs over in London. They had a watch party in London, watch parties all over England. The absolute devastation on these people's faces is just unbelievable. I mean, they are crushed. They hadn't won a World Cup in 60 years. You got to go back to 1966 since the last time England won a World Cup. In fact, England hasn't been in a final since 1966, a World Cup final. They were basically 5 minutes away from that earlier this afternoon. 5 minutes away from getting back to a World Cup final for the first time in 60 years. And to lose like they did in the last 5 to 10 minutes of that game today, I mean, it is just devastation. And where we all can relate to that is every one of us. That's what makes sports great, right? Obviously, the wins, and we remember those, and we celebrate those, and those are fun. Those are fun. But you almost have to go through the trials and tribulations of a sports fan to be devastated by some losses. That's why I can't stand bandwagon fans. I'm just not a big fan. Like when LeBron went to Miami back in 2010 or whatever that was, and all of a sudden, all over Jacksonville, we had a bunch of Miami Heat fans. It made me sick. I can't stand people jumping on bandwagons just because that given team is good. You should have to suffer with your team. You should have to feel the pain of terrible, gut-wrenching losses in order to be able, to me, to celebrate the good times, which hopefully will come. But I, like you, man, I have had some crushing losses as a sports fan. Just crushing. I mean, I was thinking about this on the drive in after watching that game, and I'm sure you have your crushing losses. Hit me up on the text line, 904-641-1010. What is your most crushing loss as a sports fan? Could be Jaguar, Gator, Seminole, whoever you are a fan of, every one of us. That's the one thing we have in common. Hopefully we have more in common than that, but one of the things we have in common is every one of us that's a sports fan has been crushed by our team at some point because of a loss that might have been last year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, heck, 30 years ago. But we remember that pain like it was yesterday. I'll tell you a couple of mine. You know, now, Jared, I'm an objective broadcast journalist. I go right down the middle, give you my perspective and my analysis every night here on Hacker After Dark. But there was a time in my life where I might have been called a Florida Gator fan. I think that's probably safe to say. And that time was when I was, I had just turned 10 years old. It was November of 1993. Florida State comes into the Swamp. I think they were undefeated. They had lost to Notre Dame. So they had one loss. But they were still in line to potentially play for the national championship, which ultimately they did, and ultimately they won. But they had to get by Florida. And Florida State's beating the Gators to death the entire day. Just beating us to death. It was 27-7 in the fourth quarter. But then Florida scores a touchdown. Then Florida scores another touchdown. And it's 27-21. And man, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium on that November afternoon in 1993, 33 years ago, the Gators had cut a 20-point lead to 6. It's third down for Florida State on their own 20-yard line. The Gators are going to get the ball back with a chance to drive down and score the game-winning touchdown. And Charlie Ward throws a pass in the flat to Warwick Dunn. Just a little pass in the flat. 75 yards later, it's 33-21, and you could have heard a pin drop at the Swamp. That was really my introduction to Florida State at the age of 10. You want to talk about a crushed 10-year-old little boy leaving Ben Hill Griffin Stadium? Man, that was awful. And that was 33 years ago. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I'll give you another one, Jaguar related. Again, before I got into the radio biz, I go back to 1996, that magical run for the Jaguars. Morton Anderson missing that kick. Jacksonville going to Buffalo and beating Jim Kelly and the Bills. Then the next week, going to Denver and beating John Elway and the Broncos. If we weren't a team of destiny, what was a team of destiny? All that stood in our way from one of the most magical runs to the Super Bowl in the history of the NFL was a trip to Foxborough to play Bill Parcells and the New England Patriots, who were probably as good as either Buffalo or Denver. I don't think there was a Jaguar fan living here after that win against Buffalo and the win against Denver that did not think we were going to go to Foxborough and win that game. But then Brunell throws a pick in the end zone. There's a fumble that's returned for a touchdown. And again, just crushing, man. That was awful. 99, I wasn't crushed because Tennessee came in here and just beat us to death. I mean, you can't be crushed losing a game by 20. You can be crushed losing that game in Foxborough in 96. 2017 wasn't very fun either, but I was a member of the media then. Can't be crushed when you're a member of the media, right? The loss to Buffalo, by the way, here in January last season. I mean, that was a terrible way for the season to end. As fun as last year was, to have it end like that, ugh. Every one of us has that crushing defeat. So I sympathize with the people over in London right now. I sympathize with the English fan base because watching some of those early videos coming out of those pubs over there, I mean, they just, what do you say to them? 60 years since they've been in a World Cup final, they were 5 minutes away. And to lose like that today, every sports fan can relate to that. Give me your most crushing defeat. Is it Gator related? Is it Seminole related? Is it Jaguar related? What is the most crushing Jaguar defeat of all time? I would find it hard to believe it's not 96 in Foxborough. Maybe 2017 in Foxborough. I think you could argue that one. Having a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, Miles Jack wasn't down and all that. To me, those are probably the two. You got to suffer with your team in order to enjoy the good times. No one's ever going to accuse me of being a bandwagon fan. I've loved the Orlando Magic since 1989. Are you kidding me? I have never stopped my fandom for Orlando. I was born into a Gator household. I've never liked any other team other than Florida. I haven't jumped around. I don't jump off the Titanic if times are bad. And I know most of you don't either. So most of you have experienced bad times, devastating losses. It's one thing we can all console each other on. But isn't that what makes sports great? You got to go through those to get to the other side. Like one day, it's going to happen. Maybe this year, but it's going to happen at some point. Whether it's Trevor Lawrence or whomever it is, when that Jaguar quarterback or that Jaguar head coach, hopefully Liam Cohen, and they're hoisting up that Lombardi trophy and the confetti's raining down, you can say, you know what? The 96 loss in Foxborough, the 99 loss to Jeff Fisher and the Titans, 2017 in Foxborough, 2025, the wild card loss to Buffalo, and all points in between. I was always here. I never left. And that day will come. I truly believe that. That day will come. 904-641 on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Your thoughts always welcome. I would imagine there are a lot of Gator fans that have a lot of devastating losses, a lot of Seminole fans that have a lot of devastating losses. I doubt any of them were last year, considering Florida and Florida State combined for a 9-15 record last year. That is disgusting. Florida State 5-7, Florida 4-8. The Gators and the Seminoles combined to go 9-15 a year ago. Will that change in 2026? Should there be optimism in both Gainesville and Tallahassee? We'll talk about it with Connor O'Gara. He comes up towards the top of the 7 o'clock hour. But coming up next, my buddy Ben Troop. He's a former All-American tight end at the University of Florida. He's also a former draft pick, second-round draft pick of the Tennessee Titans. Let's talk to Ben about John Summerall and the Gators. Let's also talk Jaguars, Titans, and look around the AFC South. Former All-American Ben Troop joins me next on a Wednesday night here in the city of Jacksonville. A little Hacker After Dark, Before Dark, in for Rick Ballou on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Rick Ballou here. DraftKings is live in all 50 states. Yes, that means you, Florida. The Cup is down to its final matches. One trophy, one champion. DraftKings has you covered for every single one. The DraftKings app is now live in Florida, so whether you're catching the early kickoff before work or the late match at the bar, you are in on every minute, every match, every moment, all in one app right here in Florida, the world's biggest stage in the palm of your hand. New DraftKings customers sign up with the code 1010XL, spend $5 to get $200 in total rewards over 21 days. That's code 1010XL in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click to claim, issued in non-withdrawable. Predictions, dollars that expire in 1 year, ends July 19th. Terms, DKNG.co/predictions promo.
Why doesn't the hero reveal himself and tell us all your real name?
My name is 1010XL.
You do have a name.
My name is 1010XL.
I'm Chris Campione. Auto accidents can leave you feeling lost and overwhelmed. But at Campione Law, we're here to guide you with a personal touch through every step of the process. We don't get paid unless you get paid. CampioneLaw.com.
Count on Campione. Campione Law.
Registration is now open for the Alive Credit Union Greater Jacksonville Kingfish Tournament. Over $300,000 in cash prizes across all tournaments July 11th through 18th, including a 28-foot contender in the Kingfish Tournament or a huge cash payout in the Beach Tournament. The Redfish Tournament is back too. Lady and junior anglers are always welcome, and spectators can enjoy exhibits, food, and kids activities all week. Register at kingfishtournament.com.
Unpredictable weather, treacherous links, and the world's best players battling for glory.
Fantastic shot there.
1010XL's coverage of the Open Championship in England is brought to you by LiveForeverGolf.com and TopDressing.com.
Do you want to grow your career with a company that's committed to growing with you? Florida Home AC has aggressive plans to double their workforce, and they're looking for determined, resourceful people with initiative. Just log on to floridahomeac.com/careers to find out more.
When it comes to orthopedic care, experience matters, and teamwork matters even more. At Orthopedic Specialists of Jacksonville, our fellowship-trained specialists work together to treat a full range of conditions, from knees and shoulders to spine, sports injuries, and joint replacement. You'll be guided by the right specialist for your needs, with coordinated care and personalized treatment plans designed for better outcomes. Smarter care, faster access, trusted expertise. Orthopedic Specialists of Jacksonville.
Frank Ranger here with Coach Delaney from Coil Fencing. You've been building winning teams at Fletcher for years. How does that correlate with installing fences here in Northeast Florida?
Well, Frank, at Coil Fencing, we like to take the coach approach. Implement a game plan and execute it on the field. That's been our winning recipe for 99 years.
And you tackle more than fences, right?
Absolutely. We also service and install automatic gates, perfect for multifamily communities, your business, or residents.
The best defense is a good offense. Visit CoilJacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com.
Credit card interest rates are now over 29%. Most people are only making the minimum payments, so they're getting nowhere. Hey, Prosser here, but here's what many homeowners don't realize. Using the equity in your home, you can easily access hundreds of thousands in cash. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can pay off your credit card, your existing HELOC, your car loans, or get money for that home improvement project. One client just got $100,000 approved and saved over $1,500 a month. Here's the best part. With Loan Pronto, you can do it all from your phone. With zero out-of-pocket, no hard credit pull up front, no appraisal, no long, drawn-out bank process, and no touching your first mortgage. Rates are at a near 3-year low. Act now. Go to loanpronto.com. See how much you can get in about 60 seconds. Loan Pronto, 2,800 5-star Google reviews. Call 904-999-1508 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Maca. Messi engancha y va, tiró con la derecha.
You gotta love it. You absolutely gotta love it. That was about 90 minutes ago, courtesy of Telemundo. Argentina in the final moments defeats England 2-1 to just rip out England's heart again. 60 years since England was in the World Cup final. They were within roughly 5 minutes of getting back there. Argentina scores not once, but twice to eliminate England earlier today. And again, I can't imagine what the mood is in London. Now, it's a little different when it's your country. I would think it's probably a little different, particularly when the World Cup is every 4 years. I mean, if the Jaguars lose a devastating playoff game, you get another shot at the season in 8 months. You got to wait 4 years for a World Cup to come back around. We're going to get the former Gator All-American tight end Ben Troop in one moment. I asked you to on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures, we've all experienced devastation as sports fans, every one of us. For me, like I said, 93, Florida State. Ugh. I'll tell you another one, 2009, Game 4 NBA Finals, Lakers Magic. Magic are down 2-1. They got a lead, and they left Derek Fisher wide open. Fisher drills a 3 to beat us. We fall down in the series 3-1. It was over in 5. And that's the last time we've sniffed an NBA Finals. And that was 17 years ago. Might as well been yesterday. I can see it so vividly. Derek Fisher being wide open on that play. But again, that's what makes sports great. But overwhelming response on the text line. Let me get to a couple of these. The 728 says 2003 Gators FSU. Chris Ricks throws a bomb. Gus Scott doesn't turn around. Well, I wouldn't blame that all on Gus Scott. Jared, you're new to the area. You'll know the name Jack Childress when we have conversations like this. Jack Childress was the Atlantic Coast Conference official that was in charge of that 2003 Florida State game. This might be a foreign concept to you, but this is 23 years ago. And I still remember the name of the head official. To this day, I want any Florida State fan to explain to me or any other Gator fan how 7 fumble calls can all go one team's way. How they were down, or an inadvertent whistle blew, or it wasn't a fumble. 7. Not once, not twice, 7. All went Florida State's way in that game. Now, they had to convert a 4th and 14, and Florida should have stopped them. And, yes, Chris Ricks threw a deep ball that should not have been caught, should have been picked, and it was caught. So Florida State did some great stuff at the very end of that game. But I would just like to know, it's been 23 years. No one's explained to me how 7 calls can all go one team's way. And that was the last time for over a decade that ACC officials were allowed in the swamp. Jeremy Foley and I remember the boys down there were like, no, that's not happening again. I think it's gone back now. Enough time has passed. Not for me. I still remember the guy's name, Jack Childress, as I'm sure Gator fans do. We got an Indiana Pacer fan on here talking about the Halliburton. Oh, yeah. Halliburton in the finals of Game 7 last year with the Achilles. Not only do you lose Game 7 and you lose the chance to win the NBA championship, which I don't know if Indiana, have the Pacers ever won a title? I don't know if they have. They might be one of those teams because they never won one with Reggie Miller. If they've won a title, it was a long time ago. I don't know if Indiana's ever won a title. And not only do you lose a Game 7.
Never.
Yeah, never. And you lose Halliburton in the process. I imagine that was absolutely brutal. 2016. Oh, this is one. Okay. This isn't devastation. This is jubilation when the Cubs won the World Series, unless this is an Indians fan or I guess Guardians fan texting in. The Marco Wilson shoe throwing. Yeah, that was something, wasn't it? I don't know. Again, that was a regular season game. My devastation is more in games at the end of the year or playoff games, but you can be devastated with a regular season game. And sure, Marco Wilson throwing the shoe. Absolutely. Yeah, somebody's listing the Orlando Game 4. That was awful. Awful. Here's a Cleveland fan. John Elway's drive against the Browns after the Ernest Biner fumble. Oh, that was death by 1,000 cuts. I think Elway, what did he go, like 98 yards on that drive? Something crazy like that. Now, the Cubs, I got a Cubs fan here saying Bartman. Yeah, Bartman had to be devastating. Now, that was Game 6. It wasn't Game 7. You could have come back and won Game 7, and you didn't. But I hear you. But you would think after winning the World Series in 2016, the Bartman pain of 2003 would ease up just a tad. So there's a lot of us that have devastation in our lives. No doubt about that. So feel for the England fans tonight. I actually know a couple of England fans that I am not texting for the time being because I just don't want to bother them or agitate them with what they're going through. That's always the one thing to me. I don't know if you guys have friends that do this, but when one of my teams has a just horrible, awful, gut-wrenching loss, don't you love your buddies that text you 10 seconds later? I mean, you haven't even picked up the pieces of your life after your team just rips out your heart, and then your cell phone's going off with your buddies trying to rag on you for your team losing. That's why I usually just go to silent mode, sit in a dark room for about an hour.
So my previous station was the home of the Raiders, and every Monday after they lost, I would show up wearing the other team's jersey.
Oh, my gosh. You had a lot of jerseys then.
Oh, yeah. Like, I have a Brock Osweiler Texans jersey.
Oh, yeah.
Brian Hoyer Browns.
Every one of us can appreciate what it's like in England right now, particularly London and that area. Just gut-wrenching, man. Great game, though. Kudos to Argentina. They get the win. They advance to play Spain in the final on Sunday. Here's the best part. England gets their heart ripped out, their guts just ripped out, and in 72 hours, they have to go to Miami where it's probably going to be 110 degrees and play a third-place game. Somebody tell me that is more up to date on FIFA than I am, why they still have a third-place game. What is the meaning for that? I mean, the third-place game on Saturday is England against France. That's, on paper, pretty great. Is there one person on that England roster that wants to play in that game after what happened 90 minutes ago? Do you think the French want to go down to Miami in 110 degrees and play after they just got killed by Spain yesterday? I don't understand why. That's like the Final Four, right? That'd be like playing the two losers on Saturday. And maybe, I think they actually used to do this way back in the day and thankfully got rid of it. The two losers in the Final Four on Saturday would play like the Monday afternoon game leading into Monday night. Why? Why do you have to play a third-place game? They're not giving out a bronze medal at the World Cup. At least I don't think they do. Maybe that's why. I don't think so.
According to the internet, which is always right,
Yeah.
they give them
out a third-place medal. Great. So you're telling Harry Kane and Bellingham and all the English guys who stood on the field for like an hour today after the game, just devastated, that now they have to get on a plane and go to South Florida into 100-degree weather and play a third-place game in 72 hours. I bet they're thrilled. I bet that just really fires them up to no end. Ben Troop, former Gator All-American tight end at the University of Florida, was also a high draft pick of the Tennessee Titans. Let's talk Gators. Let's also talk a little bit of AFC South with the former All-American. Tight end Ben Troop joins me next on a Wednesday. Hacker After Dark, Before Dark. In for Rick Ballou on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Live streaming from the XL Digital Studios. Brightened by Harbor Dental Care, Jacksonville's first choice for dental emergencies.
Neck pain, back pain, or headache, Shinatri Chiropractic has 4 locations: Westside, 103rd, Riverside, Arlington, and the Beaches. Acupuncture, dry needling, physical therapy. Relief starts today. Shinatri Chiropractic, 743-6700.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. Hacker here. And last week, before my son went to New England to spend time with grandparents, my week consisted of water balloon battles, silly string battles, a little hide and seek action, some tag. I think you referred to it as zombie tag. That appears to be a popular thing with youngsters these days. And I was able to do all of it. I was able to be outside in 100-degree weather, hanging out with my 7-year-old son. And you know why? Because of Awaken 180 weight loss, because of all the weight I lost on the best weight loss program that I've ever been on. You get your life back. You would talk about dropping the weight, and that's obviously huge. But what does that mean when you drop the weight? Well, you can do things that you couldn't do 100 pounds ago or 50 pounds ago. Get your life back. Go to awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com, or call 844-346-1800. Awaken 180 weight loss.
Jaguars fans, grab your passport. Open and fund a new Everbank Performance account for your chance to win the Everbank London Getaway Experience. One winner gets round-trip airfare for 2, 4 nights hotel, and 2 tickets to the Jags game in London this October. Start your journey today at everbank.com/London. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the 50 United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry period from 6/29 to 8/27/26. Get official rules and details at everbank.com/London Rules. Sponsor and administrator, Everbank N.A. Member FDIC.
Ever call a service company for a simple repair, and suddenly you're being told you need to replace everything in your house? Not at Duck Duck Rooter. Whether it's plumbing, septic, or air conditioning, we start with one goal: solve the problem you called about. No pressure, no scare tactics, no surprise charges. Just honest service done right. That's why homeowners across Northeast Florida trust Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
Ready to drive away with a fortune? Get to Best Bet St. Augustine for the Ride to the Riches giveaway. There's over $40,000 in cash and prizes, including a top-of-the-line 4-seater, all-terrain, side-by-side vehicle. Get to Best Bet St. Augustine. The more you play, the more chances to win. Join us August 8th at Best Bet St. Augustine for the big giveaway and hourly cash drawings starting at 12:30 p.m. Visit BestBetJax.com for details. That's BestBetJax.com, and we'll see you in St. Augustine.
Hi, I'm Blake Bortles. People know I've always said if I wasn't playing football, I'd probably be on a construction site. So Next Gen Roofing finally let me live the dream.
Blake, why are you wearing a red practice jersey?
Always worn it for safety.
Right. Well, around here, the red jersey means you're the new guy, so you're in charge of garbage cleanup.
Perfect. I love garbage time. Always excelled in it.
It's not exactly what I meant.
Good thing Next Gen Roofing has real pros handling everything from family homes to large commercial buildings. Next Gen, teamed up with you.
Teamed up with you.
Hey, Hicken here, and you know I'm going to talk about skin. Yeah, it's hot outside, folks. The oven is on. Temps are in the 90s, and it's only getting hotter. I love the summer, but my skin doesn't. I do my best with dry fit shirts, big floppy hats, plenty of water. My secret weapon, though, the screen, sunscreen. I use it regularly. Maybe you should as well. Look, I've also been seeing docs at Peaches Dermatology for years, and my skin thanks me for it. I'm telling you, it could save your life. Book your appointment today at peachesdermatology.com.
The mosquitoes are out in full force. Before they ruin another cookout or pool day, call the experts at Royal Pest Services. Their mosquito and outdoor pest treatments target mosquitoes, gnats, and other nuisance bugs so you can enjoy your backyard. Royal Pest Services. Take back your yard.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The middle portion of July finds us on the doorstep of NFL training camps and on the doorstep of college football. We have college football beginning next month. We got media days ongoing as we are here to the 2026 football season. Let's talk Florida. Let's talk a little AFC South as well with the man that knows all about both of them. He's a former All-American at the University of Florida. He was also a draft pick of the Tennessee Titans. That is my buddy Ben Troop, who's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Ben, hope your summer's going well, man. How are you?
Man, it is, man. I mean, the World Cup is here in America. It's been crazy. I mean, when you talk about living up here where I live, but hey, man, I'm always happy when we getting close to the NFL football and college football.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. SEC Media Days in Tampa, and then fall workouts will begin very, very shortly. Ben, a lot of conversation about your alma mater, and before the games are even played in September, let's look back on what I think has been almost a flawless offseason. When you talk about a team, Ben, coming off 4-8, a team with a brand new head coach and new staff, and you think about what John Summerall had to overcome not being named Lane Kiffin, and you think about everything he's done, from the staff he hired to the transfer portal to the retainment of players from last year, even the recruiting class he's putting up in 2027. As a former Gator All-American, are you as impressed with John Summerall so far as I am?
Extremely. I've been blessed enough to be able to sit down with him on 84 Reasons. I saw him doing his, I guess like his podcast and like tour, going on a lot of different podcasts. And when I got a chance to speak to him, he was like, Ben, well, let's be honest. I mean, I know I'm the new head coach of the University of Florida. He say, but I mean, there are people in the state of Louisiana don't even know what Tulane is. So I am not kidding myself and thinking that I have to introduce myself while I get an opportunity to do that, because once the regular season comes, it's going to be different for him. But I've been really, really impressed. I mean, obviously, just like I know Ryan, even though he had nothing to do with it, it was unfortunate that DJ Lagway chose to move on to Baylor, and we wish him the best. Jaden Ball had to be number one on his list, and I was like, how was you able to get Jaden Ball to come back to Florida when a lot of teams around the SEC and other conferences were looking for his services? He said, well, I never got to recruit Jaden Ball. I inherited him, and I got to go to Georgia. And he said he brought his wife and his kids, and he even brought his mother-in-law and her dog. They went and sat down, and they was able to sell the program to Jaden Ball. And I think just being able to still have the recruiting class that he had to continue to get the guys coming in, in 2027 and beyond, and to be able to put the staff together he has, it has been a flawless because Coach Faulkner, let's call it what it is. He was the number one coordinator in the country last year. Coach White comes over from Kentucky, was able to put together a nice little coaching staff. I like what he's done, but just like I know, Ryan, you can do no wrong in the offseason at the University of Florida. But when them live bullets come, it's going to be different. But as far as like an offseason go, from his introduction to what he's doing now, it has been flawless.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Wins and losses are all that matters, but all we can go on is what he's done from December to now, and I think that's been pretty darn good for John Summerall. Let's talk about the quarterback competition when fall camp begins in a couple of weeks, Ben. Aaron Philo appears to still be the guy, although as you and I talked in the spring, I think Tramel Jones might have complicated that a little bit. Ultimately, what do you think happens at that position?
Tramel Jones was the guy that said he always wanted to be a Florida Gator. Aaron Philo comes over from Coach Faulkner in Georgia Tech. Philo is obviously going to have the upper hand because he knows not just what the offense is supposed to look like, he knows what Coach Faulkner wants it to look like. Now, he has a plethora, of weapons. When you talk about VB3, we talk about, Dallas Wilson and company. But I think Tramel Jones is going to keep making it complicated. And I think that's a good way to put it, Ryan, because when you are the guy, or when you was waiting to be the guy, DJ Lagway chooses to move on, the whole coaching staff switches up, the whole team essentially switches up, the whole scheme switches up. Philo came over. You always bring a guy with you, whatever school you come from, because you want the other quarterbacks to see what it looks like. I don't know if the spring is a direct indicator of who's going to be the guy. Philo does have the upper hand, but I think Tramel Jones is going to let him know, look, I know you got the upper hand, but I'm going to make you take it from me, and I think that's going to make for great fall camp and for those guys they got on the perimeter.
Former All-American tight end at the University of Florida, Ben Troop, with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Ben, I'm not saying it's going to be Ike Hilliard, Jaquez Green, and Riedel Anthony, whatever will be, but I will say the idea of Vernell Brown, Dallas Wilson, and Strickland, the transfer portal kid from Georgia Tech and formerly of Auburn, man, on paper, that looks like a pretty good wide receiving core down there in Gainesville.
It looks fantastic. And you just hope that, the reason why, Coach Faulkner's already here and installing his offense, you want to see what you have. And none of those guys are the same. And I think now when you start talking about the skill set of Strickland, you start talking about the skill set of VB3 and Dallas Wilson, they got a bunch of guys behind him. I know I am biased, but Khalil Jackson is a name to watch because, yes, he's been there since 2020. Yes, he's the elder statesman, but he's the guy that understands what he's been through, different coaching staffs, and he's been through the pandemic, and he's still there. I think this receiving core is going to be electric. I don't know how many 1,000-yard receiving guys we're going to have, but guys, catch around 50, 60 balls. And I mean this humbly. That 2019 LSU offense, led by Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and Terrence Marshall, you're talking about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I am not saying the 2026 Florida Gator offense is going to be that, but when you talk about skill sets, you got guys that can go out there. It's been a long time since the Biletnikoff has even been talked about in a place like Gainesville. I think they're gonna have something to say about this year if and when they can find a way to have a guy who's going to be the main guy and two supporting cast guys, because Jaden Ball don't care what you do throwing the football as long as you hand it off to him.
Yeah, I think of the skill position at Florida, you got 4 guys that are going to be in the NFL in the next year or two with Jaden Ball, Vernell Brown, Dallas Wilson, and Singleton. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see what ultimately happens there. Quickly, Ben, defensively, we've spent so much time on the offense. Let's talk about the Gator defense. And they got to replace a lot, right? I mean, they got to replace guys like Tyreek Sapp and George Gums. What is your thought on the Gator defense heading into the year?
I think that Coach White is going to have our defense in a real prime position because I think you got key guys, at certain positions. I think it's going to be led by Miles Graham, though. Obviously, I played with his dad, Ernest Graham. He's the guy that can just run and hit. This D-line, I'm really, really looking to see how LJ McCray comes off an injury. I've heard a lot of great things coming out of camp about him. I think this defense is simple and plain, Ryan, regardless of who's going to be out there, get lined up, get off the field on third down, track the ball in the air at DB, and find a way to get the ball back to the offense. I think we'll be fine. Coach White, I know he comes over from Kentucky. He understands pedigree. He understands getting the best out of these guys. We got a lot of guys, and I'm looking forward to McClain being a guy that can go out there and definitely make it happen. I just want Florida's defense to get back to just being consistent. You can't be dominant until you can be consistent. They're going to be consistent because with Oklahoma coming to Florida, with South Carolina coming to Florida, you're going to have to find a way to win one, if not both of those games. If they want to have, get to those 7-8 wins. I know that somebody gave us a 15.8% chance to make the college football playoff. While I appreciate that, that says a lot coming from a team that only won 4 games a year before. But I like our defense. I just want to see, can we do the basics? Can we line up? Can we read? Can we react? Can we get off the field on third down? And can we pressure the quarterback? We can do those things. I think we got a shot to complement a high-powered offense.
Former Gator All-American tight end Ben Troop. Ben, final college question before we branch into the NFL. If you look at the SEC as a whole up there in your home state of Georgia, people love the Dogs. People love Texas. Is that the way you see it coming into the year? Texas and Georgia probably the 2 favorites?
I do. I mean, I know that Texas brings back a lot of talent. I know that Georgia always going to be able to bring back a lot of talent. I think that team from Ole Miss going to have a lot to say about it because they bring back Chambers at the quarterback, Trinidad at the quarterback position. This guy, he's hungry. He fought the NCAA, and he won. Texas A&M, I know they're going to be contenders because they don't want to have one good year in 2025 and kind of fall off. But, yeah, in order to be really, really good and dominant in 2026, the usual suspects, you got to beat that team, from Austin. You got to beat that team from Athens. That's going to be a lot to do this year. I know they play each other as well as Florida play both of those guys this year, but I do got them being the front runners.
Yeah, Florida's schedule on paper is probably a bit easier, but with that, they still play Texas, Georgia, Oklahoma, and Ole Miss, which are considered to be 4 of the better teams in the SEC coming into the year. Quickly, Ben, the fact that Tennessee and LSU is not on the schedule, does that bother you?
It does, and Tennessee more than LSU. I mean, I came up in a time where, Tennessee was the first SEC game of the year. It was the 3rd game of the season, and that usually decided who had, Eastern, the Eastern side of the conference supremacy. And I just think it's a shame. I mean, I understand that you're going to have to rotate now with what Greg Sankey and different ones are saying, but it's weird not having Florida, Tennessee, and it's weird not having Florida, LSU. I know the LSU rivalry has kind of been lopsided a little as of late. I know Tennessee got some get back. I don't like the fact that Tennessee come to Florida, beat the brakes off us, and we don't play them the very next year. But I hope to get back to some of these rivals. I think some of these things going to have to be savored. And Florida, Tennessee, and Florida, LSU, yes, I'm biased, but that's two of the better rivals, in my opinion, even though other people say otherwise.
Not only were you an All-American at Florida, you were a high draft pick of the Tennessee Titans. So let's end in the AFC South. What about the Titans? Let's begin there. They spent like $1 billion in free agency. Brand new head coach Robert Saleh. Is this an improved Titan team in your opinion?
On paper, it looks that way. And I think when you think about Coach Saleh, I know they got Gus Bradley over to be the defensive coordinator, even though Coach Saleh is going to be calling the plays. I mean, I think the Carnell Tate should let the whole world know that 40 times, are only a myth. I think he ran like a 4.5 and was still the number 1 receiver taking. It was either going to be Jeremiah, Smith either going. I mean, I love, and he went number 3, so we get Carnell Tate at number 4. I just think this Titans team is built to compete. When you look at last year, it was a lot of improvising from Cam Ward and not much outside of that. Calvin Ridley has cut his hair. He took a pay cut to stay. I mean, I think the guy to watch is Wan'Dale Robinson. I think that's going to be the guy to make this offense go because he is paid to get open, and that is exactly what he does. I think it's going to be a much improved defense. Got a lot of size at the cornerback position. I'm looking forward to see how these two safeties, play with each other. You got Jerry Simmons some help. On the side note, I don't know how you be the number 1 ranked defensive tackle in the league and you ranked in the 80s in the top 100, but that's that Tennessee Titan bias that people like or don't like. But I do think the Titans are much improved. I think they're built to compete, but I do not think the Jaguars or the Texans are going to be friendly to them Titans because they're going to have to earn every single win.
Yeah, I like what Tennessee did in the offseason. I absolutely hate what Indianapolis did. I wonder what they were thinking with some of the moves they made. And you mentioned Jacksonville. Brenton Strange at tight end here gets a contract extension. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence, a guy you know very well from the state of Georgia, coming off an MVP finalist season. A lot of optimism down here, Ben, with the Jaguars. What's your thought on them coming into the year?
It should be. I mean, if everybody has something to say about Brenton Strange getting his contract extension, you shouldn't be comparing to what Kyle Pitts got, who was a second-team All-Pro. I think Strange has Dalton Schultz, and Tyler Warren type ability. I mean, you look at what he was have to do. De'Ami Brown was a no-show last year. I mean, you look at the fact that Travis Hunter was hurt. He was a key cog in that offense, that was led by Jacoby Myers and company. So I think that yes, I like what the Jags did. I know that Travis Etienne, I want to say his name right. I mean, if Travis Hunter can stay healthy and they can decide what position he plays, Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines Allen trying to look at Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson and say, hey, man, we want to be the best duo in the AFC South. And that's going to be saying something coming from those two guys. Jacksonville is not trying to go from first to worst. They're saying, look, Liam Cohen superseded expectations. They're not trying to go backwards. And I do agree with what you said with the Daniel Jones situation. If Daniel Jones looks like Daniel Jones from the first 8 games, all 17 games, that's a nice contract. If he looks like Daniel Jones the second half of the season, I think this whole entire coaching staff gonna get fired. And dare I say, they're trying to replace Andrew Luck saga continues up there in Indy.
Yeah, we're going to be really, really interesting. I want to end with your podcast. Final question, you as a former player. Year 2 for Liam Cohen. Obviously, last year, you're just getting to know the guys and what they can do well. Everybody talks about the year 2 under the same staff. How effective will the Jaguars be now with a second year with that coaching staff?
They'll be very effective because I think the first thing you have to do as a head coach is earn trust. Liam Cohen earned not just the trust of the organization, but the entire team. And they trusted the fact that, look, just trust what I'm doing. I mean, let's face it, Travis Hunter was looked to be a big part of that team, not just that offense last year. And he was hurt most of the year, and they won the division. I think that's good for Jacksonville, and that's going to be bad for the competition because when you add that type of talent back to a team that won without him. But I like the fact that Liam Cohen is saying, hey, when he decided where he wanted to go, yes, it was crazy how he ended up in Jacksonville. I don't know that's still, yet to be determined why he went ghost for 72 hours or whatever it was with Tampa. But he looked at Jacksonville. He looked at Trevor Lawrence. He looked at his team and said, not only do I want to coach there, I think I can win there. And the AFC South that's much improved. I like Liam Cohen going into year 2. A comfortable Liam Cohen is going to make it very uncomfortable for the entire division.
No, I think that's well said. Former Gator All-American tight end Ben True. Ben, you mentioned 84 Reasons, your podcast. You had John Summerall on this offseason. Tell Gator fans about the podcast and where and when they can find it.
It's an all Florida Gator podcast. Former, future, and current Florida Gators coaches, players, alumni, parents. It's a chance for old Gator to talk to all, about my times in Gainesville, and got Khalil Jackson coming up, got Miles Graham coming up, got VB3 coming up, got Jada Ball coming up, might even get old Mike Peterson, former Jacksonville Jaguar and Florida Gator, to come on as well with him moving away from coaching, into the front office, just talk about his transition there and just having a lot of fun with it, Ryan, just understanding that never ever thought I would see myself in this situation, but hey man, 84 Reasons, there's no games, no gimmicks, just reasons, 84 Reasons, your reason. Make sure you tune in, man. It's a lot of fun.
He's one of our favorites, former Gator All-American tight end, Ben True. Ben, thank you as always. We'll do it again soon, pal.
Ryan, always a pleasure coming on with you, sir. Anytime you need me, as always.
Frank Frangie here. 0% financing is back at Nimnick Chevrolet, but don't expect it to last. This is one of Chevrolet's most popular offers, and right now, qualified buyers can get 0% financing for 60 months on select Chevy Silverado 1500 trucks and Chevy Equinox SUVs. Take it from me, I know it. Nimnick is the best place to get cars and trucks. They treat you right. Visit NimnickChevy.com or head to Nimnick today. Where do you get the best prices and the best financing? That's easy. Nobody but Nimnick.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
What if the next roof you put on your home was the last one? Not another replacement in 15 or 20 years, the last roof. Metlock Roofing is Florida's only manufacturer and installer of this exclusive roofing system. Engineered for strength, built for Florida weather, backed by a lifetime warranty. Imagine never needing another roof. Call 938-9933 or visit metlokroofing.com. Get your last roof today with Metlock. License number CCC 1335581.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
Oh, it's a promise made perfect, gang, and it comes from Chad and Sandy. Your home sold guaranteed, or we'll buy it. They have the largest pool of buyers in the area. Their home selling program is designed to maximize your sales price. No long-term contracts, no costly repairs. You're in complete control. You need to sell now. Chad and Sandy have instant offers. Fast, easy, stress-free. And they deliver on this promise. Using their proprietary Market Max system, Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they'll buy it. They're the local real estate experts I trust and recommend. No required repairs. Pick your move date. No long-term contracts you can cancel at any time. Marine on Pace Island and Fleming Island. I needed to downsize to a single-story home, but my house in Pace Island had been sitting on the market for 158 days. Heard Chad and Sandy on the radio, gave them a call. Their strategy generated multiple showings. Day 2, my home sold. Full asking price, $449. It can for you, too. Go to chadandsandy.com.
Hey, I'll be home in about 10 minutes. Actually, make it 8.
Hey, Mom. Yep, I'm walking home now. Mom, I'm trying to cross, but I don't think this driver sees me. No, they're driving too fast. Mom!
Speeding catches up with you. Early, on time, a little late, just get there safely. A message from the Florida Department of Transportation's Target Zero initiative.
The Jacksonville Axemen take on the Sarasota Bull Sharks this Saturday at 7 at JU's The Rock Stadium. Axemen Rugby League. Full contact for 90 nonstop minutes. Info at jacksax.com. Proudly sponsored by PermitRockstar.com.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at over $4,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Hey, Googans, Hicken here. You want to win wings from Mr. Chubby's or tacos from Taco Lou? How about some chocolate from Peterbook? All we need you to do is tell us more about you by filling out the 1010 listener survey at 1010XL.com. What kind of vehicles do you drive? Are you a business owner? What part of 1010XL do you like the most? We want to get to know you better so we can serve you better. Go to 1010XL.com, fill out the survey, and you could be a winner.
Key Buick GMC, proudly family-owned and operated since 1943. On Southside and JTB, for a limited time, Key Buick GMC has marked down select new GMC Sierra 1500 models. Below employee pricing, you pay less than what our employees pay. Plus, at Key Buick GMC, every new vehicle comes with our lifetime powertrain warranty. Visit us or shop online at keybuickgmc.com. We are professional-grade. Lifetime powertrain warranty covers engine, transmission, drive time only. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
When you call Endless Summer Roofing, you're not getting a 1-800 number in another state. You're getting your neighbors. We are family-owned, locally operated, with our own employees, not subcontractors, and over 50 years in combined roofing experience. This means the same crew that installs your roof is the team that stands behind it. We're not strangers. We don't take shortcuts. We're local people who take pride in protecting our neighbors' homes. Endless Summer Roofing. Local roots, rock-solid roofs.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Summer air should feel fresh, not full of dust, allergens, or whatever winter left behind in your vents. Your air ducts, they're the lungs of your home. And if they're dirty, you're breathing it in every day. That's where Zero Res comes in. Hick and Here, backed by over thousands of Google reviews and a 4.9 out of 5.0 rating. This month only takes $75 off your air duct cleaning. Cleaner air, better efficiency, a fresher home. Call 287-5727 or visit ZeroResJacksonville.com and ask for the 1010XL special.
Zero Res.
Hey friends, Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Have you ever stored a gallon of leftover paint, opened the can years later, and it's rusty, crusty, and unusable? Next time, secure the lid tightly to ensure no leaks and store the can upside down. Oxygen can't get to it, therefore no rust and no crust. If you'd like more tips or have a question about a project, we'd love to help. Go to performance-painting.com. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting! Prosser here. The FIFA World Cup is entering its biggest matches, and there's no better place to be than Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform. On Kalshi, you can trade every match from the opening stage all the way to the final. I'm looking at Argentina. They could win it all. They won't see France until the final game, and right now trading around 18% to win. That means a $100 trade pays out $514 if they win the cup. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market. That means there's no house, and as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code 1010XL. You'll get $10 when you trade 10. Kalshi, Kalshi. Trade the beautiful game. 18 and over only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory.
Need or want cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. They need it all, selling or pawning. Get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
Pick it here for Oceanside Cleaners, the very best in dry cleaning service. Free pickup and delivery, or use their self-service kiosk in Ponte Vedra and Southside for drop-off and pickup. Dry cleaning, laundry, bedding, and bridal gown preservation. If it's got fabric, they can clean it. Oceanside Cleaners.
Thank you, Jacksonville Magazine readers, for voting Dan the Media Mogul Hicken best sports talk host. Jaguars Today's Mike Dempsey was a close runner-up. And thanks for voting The Drill with Dan and Jeff Prosser best morning show radio team. 1010XL is truly honored.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Halftime, Hacker After Dark, 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We'll take you up till 8 o'clock tonight here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Thank you to Ben Troop, former All-American tight end at the University of Florida, for joining us this evening. That Ben Troop interview was your cornerstone Interior Solutions interview of the evening. Look, your air conditioner shouldn't have to work overtime in the Florida heat. That's why homeowners and builders in Northeast Florida are calling my friends at Cornerstone Interior Solutions for spray foam insulation in homes, crawl spaces, garages, metal buildings, and more. Spray foam helps keep the heat out, the comfort in, and your energy bills under control. The bottom line, comfort wins, efficiency wins, Cornerstone wins. Give my friends at Cornerstone Interior Solutions a phone call, 904-540-4572, or check out their website, cornerstoneinteriorsolutions.com, and tell them Hacker sent you from Hacker After Dark. You know, it's interesting as we are on the doorstep of college football. ACC kickoff going on right now up in Charlotte. SEC Media Days next week in Tampa. And then fall camp will begin all over the country. Season kicks off on Saturday, August the 29th. The Big Ten, back-to-back national champions coming into this year. It just means more in the SEC, right? I know that. Most of you that are SEC fans here in Jacksonville know that or think that. That hasn't been the case. Michigan was your national champion. Then Ohio State was your national champion. Then Indiana was your national champion. Have you seen all the preseason magazines this year? People still love Indiana. They still love Ohio State. They love Oregon. And even though it's a non-Big Ten school, they seem to love Notre Dame as well. Translation, is the SEC really for the fourth year in a row going to miss out on a national champion? Texas and Georgia, good things are expected from them. But outside of Texas and Georgia, you're not hearing a lot of love about Alabama or A&M or LSU or Florida or Tennessee. Really, it appears that Texas and Georgia are kind of carrying the banner. Maybe Ole Miss, carrying the banner for the SEC to try to end this skid, end this streak of the Big Ten winning back-to-back-to-back national championships. Let's talk about that. Why has the Big Ten overtaken the SEC? Is it simply NIL, or is it something else? I've had Connor O'Gara on for years. He does a terrific job covering the world of college football. He is the host of the OG Kickoff podcast, and Connor's going to join me next. Big Ten, SEC, why has it changed over the last 3 years, and will it change back to the SEC in 2026? That's next. Hacker After Dark on a Wednesday, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Rick Ballou here. DraftKings is live in all 50 states. Yes, that means you, Florida. The Cup is down to its final matches. One trophy, one champion. DraftKings has you covered for every single one. The DraftKings app is now live in Florida, so whether you're catching the early kickoff before work or the late match at the bar, you are in on every minute, every match, every moment, all in one app right here in Florida, the world's biggest stage in the palm of your hand. New DraftKings customers sign up with the code 1010XL, spend $5 to get $200 in total rewards over 21 days. That's code 1010XL in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click to claim, issued in non-withdrawable. Predictions, dollars that expire in 1 year, ends July 19th. Terms, DKNG.co/predictions promo.
This World Cup soccer update is laced up by Valvoline Instant Oil Changes and Houston's Meats.
Westwood One Sports presents this World Soccer update. England punched first, but Argentina's late-game heroics came back to push the defending champions through to another FIFA World Cup final with a 2-1 comeback victory over England in Atlanta. It was a cagey and physical but scoreless first half, and England broke through in the 55th minute. Anthony Gordon with a one-time finish off a whipped ball into the back post by Morgan Rogers. But from there, England bunkered down, and the pressure rose from Argentina, who found their equalizer in the 85th with a long strike by Enzo Fernandez. And then 2 minutes into stoppage time, the game winner from Lautaro Martinez, a back post header, Lionel Messi providing both assists. Heartbreak for England, whose 60-year World Cup drought will continue. They face France in the third-place match on Saturday. Argentina will meet Spain on Sunday in the final as they look to repeat. I'm Lucas Panzica, Westwood One Sports.
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, really? That's great.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
I can't have any more? Why not?
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
When we started Oakland Roots Sports Club, we needed a strong foundation. Gusto has had our back since day one, making sure every hire, every paycheck, and every player is taken care of. They're the team behind our team. With Gusto, we stay rooted and give Oakland the love it deserves. I'm Idris Argandawal, co-founder of Oakland Roots and Gusto customer since 2018.
See why 500,000 businesses trust Gusto for payroll, HR, and more. Get started for free at gusto.com/roots.
The doctors at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists have resolved my hip and foot issues, and I'm back to training for the 2028 Olympics in LA. This is Garrett Scantling, and I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
This is David Garrard. Following my knee surgeries and recovery, I'm continuing to feel great and would recommend Southeast Orthopedic to anyone who's experiencing orthopedic pain.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Hey guys, Prosser here. When you need new windows or doors, you want high-end quality without the middleman markup. That's exactly why I'm telling you about Cash Building Material. Same premium materials, same beautiful finishes, but at a price that actually makes sense for your home. No subcontractors, no runaround, just their own experienced crews who treat your house like it's theirs. Get a quote today, thank me tomorrow. For windows and doors, search Cash Building Material. Windows and doors done right. Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Got a dent or a scratch that needs fixing? San Jose Collision in Mandarin offers expert auto body repair and works with all insurance. Family owned and locally trusted. San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. Awaken 180 clients have just reached the 1 million pounds down mark. 1 million pounds. A city of people. That's thousands of people who reclaim their lives the easy way, the medication-free way. What's stopping you? Awaken180weightloss.com.
Looking for the perfect place to entertain clients or reward your employees this football season? River City Railway delivers a one-of-a-kind hospitality experience. Private, full-size rail cars with everything you need. AC, TVs, private bathrooms, outdoor entertaining areas, and reserved parking. All within walking distance to the stadium. Food and open bar included. Give your guests an experience they'll never forget. Visit rivercityrailway.com and reserve your rail car today.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The middle to late portion of July means we are in the Media Days circuit. ACC Media Days going on up in Charlotte, North Carolina. Soon, the SEC Media Days in Tampa. And very, very soon, we will have fall camp starting all over the country with the college football season set to kick off in late August. Let's talk Florida. Let's talk Florida State. Let's look around the Southeastern Conference as well with one of our favorites, Connor O'Gara. He is the host of the OG Kickoff with Next Round Live, and Connor's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Connor, hope your off season went well, man. How are you?
Doing well. It's crazy to think that Media Days are already here. It feels like just yesterday I was watching my alma mater win a national championship, and getting to see now kind of the response since then has been pretty crazy. And I would like for my school to hold on to the title of defending champs as long as possible, but glad that we are almost through talking season, and we're right around the corner from fall camp. You're exactly right.
You know, I want to talk Florida State as well, but a big, broad SEC topic to begin. You know, the Big Ten is back-to-back-to-back national champions with Michigan, Ohio State, and Indiana. And if you look at all the preseason magazines, they love Oregon, they love Ohio State, they love Indiana. Even though they're not a Big Ten team, they seem to love Notre Dame. Connor, how much pressure is there on the Southeastern Conference? As you and I both know, it just means more, or it's supposed to. Yet they have not won the national title in 3 years, and if it goes to a fourth, and if it goes back to the Big Ten, well, at that point, there's no question who the best conference in college football is.
A ton. Let's think about how the SEC built its reputation. 2007 to 2010. That obviously is only part of that stretch from 2006 through 2012, in which the SEC won 7 consecutive national titles. But from 2007 to 2010, the SEC had 4 different schools win a title. The Big Ten is capable of doing that this year. And I picked Oregon to win a national championship. I think they get it done for the first time. And it's a get over the hump type season for Dan Lanning and Eugene. But, it is important because when you flex as loud as the SEC does and you consider yourself to be the premier brand of the sport, you can't do so if you're left out of the national championship for 3 consecutive years. And so, yes, people are going to say, oh, well, the depth. Well, the depth was the thing that you pointed to and said, well, this is why our teams are so battle tested by the time they get to the national championship stage and why they're able to win playoff games. Now, it can't be the reason that you're all of a sudden just falling short of that. And the SEC has struggled on the playoff stage. I mean, there's no 2 ways about it. I think that seeing the Big Ten have the success doesn't mean that the conference is deeper, but ultimately we don't care in this sport about who the 6th or 7th best team is. Like, that's the argument the Big Ten used to make in the 2010s, and it didn't hold much weight, and SEC fans would laugh. So now Big Ten fans are rightly pushing back on the SEC and going, well, you're only as good as your best team is, and the Big Ten has had the better teams, and that could very well continue this year. It's going to be fascinating to see if a true national championship contender emerges from the SEC.
Connor, is that NIL? Is that why the Big Ten is seemingly past the SEC right now?
It's part of it, but I think you could probably point to, like, you could say the end of the Nick Saban era at Alabama has certainly played a part in that. And I think if you just look at the quarterback position as a whole, so many SEC quarterbacks have come into these last couple, really 3 seasons as highly touted, decorated guys, and they just haven't lived up to it. Whereas in the Big Ten, they've had more of those guys that have worked out at the game's most important position. And, it's not a surprise that last year, finally, the Big Ten is able to end that Heisman drought, which lasted almost 2 decades, and Fernando Mendoza wins the Heisman Trophy. But, just look at the highly touted SEC quarterbacks coming into each of these seasons, and they've largely disappointed. And instead, it's been more of the guys of like a Trinidad Chambliss or Gunnar Stockton who has stepped up and emerged. But I think that's a big part of it. If you're going to struggle at that position, and maybe you could blame NIL for some of that and say these guys with their private jet deals and whatnot have a tougher time focusing and winning over the locker room and whatnot. Like, maybe that is part of it, and that's probably lost in the shuffle of this. But, it does just feel like the SEC not having a Nick Saban who you just trust is going to win on that stage has played a part in it. And Big Ten has done a really good job in this new era of college football of being able to build up those championship contenders, and they might have a new champion this year.
Yeah, from Michigan to Ohio State to Indiana, and like you said, a lot of people love Oregon to begin the season. Connor O'Gara with us here. He is the host of the OG Kickoff on Next Round Live. We'll tell you where and when you can find Connor's program in just a moment. Connor, as we bring it back locally to the University of Florida, I don't think they're going to be in the playoff conversation this year, but I'll say this. From a guy that inherited a 4-8 program and a guy whose name is not Lane Kiffin, to what John Sumrall has done in the 7.5 months he's been on the job, the excitement with the fan base, the staff he's hired, the recruiting that's going on, the retainment of players from last year. Wins and losses is all that matters, and I'm not saying that doesn't matter. It certainly does. But 7.5 months in, Sumrall, to me, has been a fantastic hire.
Yeah, outside of getting someone more expensive at the quarterback position, I don't know what else he could have done with the situation that he inherited. And I think you could argue that's actually resources are better spent elsewhere, I think, in year one than getting like a $4 million quarterback or something like that. And if Aaron Philo or if Tramel Jones Jr., a guy that I'm certainly not ruling out playing a role this year, like if one of those guys emerges, you'll look back and go, yeah, it was definitely smarter to not necessarily spend that type of money at the quarterback position and be able to spend it elsewhere and know that you want to build this offense around Jaden Baugh. You want to have those returning receivers have this type of season that makes you feel like, hey, whoever starting quarterback is in really good shape. And I think one of the most impressive metrics so far of the John Summerall era, as brief as it is, even though he hasn't coached an SEC game yet, is that that defense is number one in the country in Bill Connolly's percentage of returning defensive production. They got a lot of those guys in the front seven to stay. That's really going to be a huge thing to watch for with the proof of concept that he's looking to establish, because that's the name of the game in this day and age. It's not that year one defines you, but year one is kind of what boosters need to see for like, hey, do you actually feel like a coach that can win with these resources? And if so, here are more resources, and here's even more money to show that you can be that guy. And maybe that's what it's going to take Florida to be able to get over that hump and find that consistency that they've just been lacking in the post-Urban Meyer era. So yeah, it's hard to imagine things going better for John Summerall than they have in these first 7 months on the job. We'll wait and see if that's the discussion come November.
Connor, as you know, the word realistic very rarely falls in the same sentence with a college football fan base. But for realistic expectations for Gator Nation, what are you thinking? 7, maybe 8-4 on the outskirts?
Yeah, I have 7-5. And one of the marquee wins I have them getting is at home against Ole Miss, which I think that people look at that on the surface and go, oh, that's not that big of a deal. Florida did that a couple of years ago. I have Ole Miss going to an SEC championship. And might I remind people, Ole Miss was 20 seconds away from playing for a national championship last year and returns what I think is the best quarterback in the sport in Trinidad Chambliss. So I do think that would be significant. And it would be even more significant than last year's win against Texas, a game in which, Florida with what essentially was a lame duck coach in Billy Napier, was able to rise to the occasion against a top 10 team that had legitimate national title aspirations. And I think that Florida doing that this year with John Summerall and what they're trying to show year one is, hey, we can play with anybody. Give us the talent, give us the right resources, and we can do this, and we can be a formidable foe in this conference and not the doormat that they were last year for most of the season. So I think that going 7-5, like if you're beating up on, the Kentuckys of the world and, it's an FSU team with an interim coach or something like that, that's one thing. But I think them beating Ole Miss and looking like this team that can kind of keep its head above water, even if it does have some of those low moments, I think that's very realistic for this team in year one.
I want to end with a thought on Florida State, but you mentioned Curt Cignetti in Indiana earlier. How much did Cignetti kind of hurt the new coaches in the Power Four, like Summerall, Golish, all the new guys in the SEC, for him to come right into Indiana and go 11-1 in year one and make the playoff, and then in second year to go 16-0? I mean, that's unfathomable, you would have thought a couple of years back. How much did what Cignetti did in Bloomington speed up the timeline that these guys have to have with all these new jobs?
Yeah, I mean, it's the outlier. It's so unrealistic to expect anybody, no matter what job you take, to be 27-2 through 2 years with a national championship and 2 losses to teams who played in a national championship. I mean, doing so, even if all of a sudden the Georgia job became available, that's not a fair bar to set. But I think what it at least shows you is that if you have the right approach year one, and if you have those right transfers who can step in and establish the culture, then there's a lot that's on the table. And you can kind of miss me with the notion that you need 4 years to rebuild a program. To me, that's too long in this day and age, and that's resources that are wasted. And instead, that's going to set you back a lot further if that's kind of your timeline. So yeah, you're right. I mean, it expedites the timeline. There's no doubt about it. And it's interesting. I think one of the things that's going to be very fascinating to follow in the SEC is how different Summerall and Golish are operating in year one. Golish brings over like a dozen guys from USF and some of the members of that coaching staff, whereas Summerall brings over his punter and his kicker. And that's it, and I've said it many times, like there's more than one way to skin a cat in this day and age in the transfer portal. But I think seeing those two guys who came from the same conference have very different year one approaches to rebuilds in the SEC, I think that you're going to be reminded that there is no foolproof method. And yes, you would ideally love to be able to say, let's copy the Cignetti model. Good luck trying to do that. But that timeline is expedited, and there's at least more of a runway if you take over a rebuild like those two coaches did.
Yeah, of course, Florida goes to Auburn the third Saturday in September in what is just an enormous early season game for both of those first-year staffs. Final moments with Connor O'Gara. All right, there's optimism in Gainesville. I don't sense that among the Florida State fan base in Northeast Florida for the Seminoles heading into 2026. What's your thought on Florida State heading into the year, and is Mike Norvell on the hottest seat in America?
Yeah, he's pre-fired in my opinion, and this is just about figuring out when that can happen, how much angst this fan base and these boosters have to endure before that decision is inevitable. I think there's a possibility that one of those early season home losses could be the undoing for one Mike Norvell. And, it's not to say that he is this terrible coach, but, I brought this up with you before. Like last year, actually, in some ways, kind of felt worse than the year before because Florida State actually did a lot of things well. Like a team they were top 30 in the country in both, I think, yards per play on offense and defense. And they were a team that won 5 games. Like that points to the special teams miscues. It points to late game miscues. And so much of that falls on coaching. And I think that's the tough thing to wrap your head around. It's like, it felt like there was more that was on the table, but you have a coach that just hasn't shown that he can consistently do that and be that guy that you trust to be able to win games like that. And so, yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot of optimism. I think everybody that you talk to is like, yeah, Florida State, we can now look at and say how much of that was Jordan Travis and Jared Verse and hitting on a couple of those key transfers that obviously made the difference for that program. It feels like this is going to come to an end this year. What that buyout looks like, I don't think that'll stand in the way anymore. And they're going to have to cut a big check to Mike Norvell. And I do think it'll feel like a very lost year in Tallahassee.
Connor, final question. Leave us with this. SEC championship game, ACC championship game, and who wins the conferences this year?
I have Texas beating Ole Miss in the SEC championship, which that would be Ole Miss's first time ever making it to the SEC championship. Having that happen in the first year post-Lane Kiffin would be fascinating to see. And Lord knows I'm going to feel like an absolute idiot when I'm sitting there in Atlanta in a few months and Georgia has the confetti falling on them once again. And I'm like, why didn't I just pick Georgia? Why did I get too cute with it? So definitely open for that possibility. And then look, how does Miami not win the ACC this year? I mean, goodness gracious, like Miami not having an ACC title at this point, having just played in a national championship, an opportunity to win the national championship on a final drive if that doesn't end with a pick, and to think they're still chasing that first ACC crown is wild, but it's all set up for them. Like the fact that they don't even have SMU and Louisville in the regular season after they had those 2 losses to them last year. I just think Miami's got too much firepower. I think offensively, Malachi Toney, having a Mark Fletcher Jr. coming back for that group with all the money they spent on Darian Mensah, I'm just looking at that team going, man, how could they not win the ACC this year? And so maybe it ends up being a matchup against one of those teams that they won't face in the regular season, like an SMU or a Louisville. But yeah, give me the Canes to finally win the ACC and end that joke that has lasted for 2 decades now.
Yeah, crazy. I think Miami hasn't won the ACC since entering the conference. And you mentioned SMU and Louisville. It's worth noting Florida State is the only team in the ACC this year that has Miami, Clemson, SMU, and Louisville on their schedule. When you combine NC State, Virginia, Alabama, and Florida, it is a very daunting schedule for the Seminoles, maybe a little easier schedule for the Miami Hurricanes. Connor O'Gara. Connor, you've been covering the world of college football for years. Tell us about the OG Kickoff and where the good folks here in Jacksonville can find your work.
Yeah, appreciate that. Wherever you get your podcast, the OG Kickoff, we're going to be going to twice a week pretty soon here. At some point in August, we're going to be doing that. But we're once a week right now coming out on Thursdays. We're going to have the plan is to have live shows from SEC Media Days, a lot of great coverage coming from there. And it's been a great partnership with the next round and looking forward to getting to do this throughout the regular season. And, we have a lot of fun with it. We go in depth in the Southeastern Conference in ways that I think very, very few people in this industry do. So we have a lot of fun and excited to finally be here, man. I'm glad that we're almost through the dog days of summer and ready to have some actual football to be able to watch.
Connor, always enjoy the conversation, man. Thank you as always. We'll do it again soon, pal.
Appreciate it, man.
Another sizzling summer on the First Coast.
Summer. And 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here. Nimnik Buick GMC is proud to be the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville, earned by treating customers with courtesy, respect, and fairness. All part of Nimnik's Treating You Right guarantee. The most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnik. For 3 generations, Nimnik has been the place customers keep coming back to. They treat you right, and they give a bunch back to the community. Visit NimnikBuickGMC.com today to learn more or visit their showroom off Phillips Highway. GMC, we are professional grade.
When you're injured, you need more than legal advice. You need someone who truly cares. I'm Chris Campione, and at Campione Law, I take pride in what we do. You're never just another case. We take the time to listen, guide you through the process, and fight for your recovery every step of the way. And remember, you pay nothing unless we win. Zip, nada, nothing. Learn more at CampioneLaw.com. Offices, Jacksonville and St. Augustine.
Count on Campione, Campione Law.
Hear that? That's not relaxing. That's a roof leak. At Endless Summer Roofing, we remove indoor water features from places they don't belong. Quality roofing, honest service, no duct tape solutions. EndlessSummerRoofing.com. Your ceiling will thank you.
Nobody likes feeling taken advantage of by a service company. That's why homeowners across Northeast Florida choose Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When we come to your home, our job is simple. Find the problem, fix the problem. Charge a fair price, no upselling, no scare tactics, no surprise recommendations designed to sell you more than you need. Quality work from a local team you can trust. Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769 or DuckDuckRooter.com.
When you're craving scratch-made food, 29-degree draft beer, and the best seat in the house for every game, there's only one place to go, Twin Peaks. E.T. here, and from juicy burgers and smoked in-house wings to ice-cold brews served by the friendliest team around, Twin Peaks is the ultimate sports lodge. Wall-to-wall TVs everywhere. You'll never miss a moment. So grab your crew and head over to Twin Peaks, where the views are impeccable and the food hits every time. And the beer is always colder than your ex's heart. Twin Peaks. Eat, drink, scenic views.
1010XL's coverage of ACC football kickoff is brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234. Listen for interviews of coaches, players, and analysts as they preview the upcoming ACC football season.
Hey gang, Prosser here. The Open Championship is upon us. And you know, you think of the Open, you think of the weather, you think of maybe a hoodie. Nah, it's not the exact same kind of hoodie you will need at the Open, but the hoodie collection at Live Forever Golf is outstanding. I've become a hoodie guy. The lightweight, they make them a bunch of different ways right now. The Practice Clubhouse hoodie tee is salt washed, makes it butter soft. For that and everything else golf related, it's Live Forever Golf and liveforevergolf.com.
Checkmate. I'm Brendan Cecilia, founder of Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, the Checkmate King.
The two most important factors behind a great garage floor coating are the preparation and the application.
So we prepare every floor with high-performance diamond grinding pads. But just ugly diamonds, right, Brendan? If we find any nice ones, I could use some crown jewels.
Sorry, Chester. Our special grinding pads use diamonds that are too ugly for jewelry.
But they create the perfect surface to bind with our multi-layer polymer coating for years of durable performance.
You'll have to pick out jewelry on your own time, Your Highness.
The term is Your Majesty, Brendan, but I'll let it go this time.
Perfect preparation?
Check. Expert application?
Check. A gorgeous new floor that sparkles like a diamond in your garage? Checkmate!
Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate.
Visit CheckmateCoatings.com. That's CheckmateCoatings.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
Oh, there's no doubt what the golden moment was today. It took place up in Atlanta. Argentina down 1-0 to England in the 85th minute. They scored to tie it at 1. And then Argentina, 2 minutes into extra time, scores again to just absolutely rip the heart out of England. An England team that has not won a World Cup in 6 decades, 60 years. An England team that has not been to a World Cup final in 60 years. And they were 5 minutes away. And it gets snatched from them by Messi and Argentina. And that was the whole conversation in hour number 1. You, myself, Jared, everybody here, the Hacker After Dark crew, and everybody that's listening to us, and we certainly appreciate it. We all have a couple of things in common sports-wise. One of the main things we have in common, and this was the golden moment of the night, is that we all know what it's like to feel devastation as a sports fan. We know that one game or that one moment where your team had victory snatched away and fell to defeat. And you as a fan, whether it was last year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, heck, 20 or 30 years ago, you remember it like it was yesterday. And I saw videos coming out of London a couple of hours ago when the game went final. I mean, it was devastation for those England fans. I felt for them, quite frankly, because we all know what it's like, whether you're a Gator, a Seminole, a Hurricane, a Dog, a Jaguar. I mean, I threw it out on the text line in hour number one. We had Indiana Pacer fans talking about their devastation. We had Chicago Cub fans talking about their devastation. A Cleveland Brown fan hasn't gotten over the drive after Ernest Biner's fumble where Elway went, 98 yards to beat him. The Orlando Magic, I can relate to that. That's one of mine. Game 4 of the 2009 NBA Finals, where Derek Fisher just reached into my chest and grabbed my heart and stomped on it with that essentially buzzer beater to put the Lakers up 3-1 in the NBA Finals. But the point is, going through those trials and the trepidation and the losing and the, everything that comes with it as a sports fan, that makes winning that much better. Our NFC South preview comes up next. Let's go to New Orleans. Fletcher Mackel, WDSU television in New Orleans. We'll talk Saints. We've already talked Buccaneers and Falcons. Panthers tomorrow. Let's talk about Travis Achan's new home. New Orleans Saints. NFC South preview continues next here on Hacker After Dark.
Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios. Polished by Harbor Dental Care, the locally owned smile restoration experts.
Overheard at the Hard Rock Bet Party.
Wait, is that Ronaldinho? Ronaldinho, you think Brazil will win it all this summer? Claro que sí.
Can I just say, you're my favorite player, ever.
Bet all of soccer's biggest matches this summer on Hard Rock Bet. And keep your cool in case you run into Ronaldinho. Download the Hard Rock Bet app and back your country. Roll with us. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
I'm Matt Lennon with AB Signs. Every day, your company vehicle is on the road. Is it bringing you customers? I turn trucks, trailers, and storefronts into powerful advertising. Make your business impossible to miss with AB Signs.
The Jacksonville Axemen take on the Sarasota Bull Sharks this Saturday at 7 at JU's The Rock Stadium. Axemen Rugby League. Full contact for 90 nonstop minutes. Info at jacksaxe.com. Proudly sponsored by PermitRockstar.com.
A lot of plumbing companies around here, not local anymore. They got bought out. Different owners, different priorities, and you feel it when you call. But not at Superior Plumbing and Pipelining. Superior Plumbing and Pipelining is still locally owned, still right here in Northeast Florida. No call centers, no corporate nonsense, just hardworking pros who show up, fix it right, and stand behind the job. From leaks to full pipe relining, make the superior choice when you need a plumber. Request an estimate at superiorplumbingjacks.com.
In Jacksonville, we love our sports. You might say we flip out over them. Football, baseball, soccer, hockey, basketball, golf, and there's our outdoor game, fishing, surfing, and just chilling. There's so much to do, it will make your head spin. But keep your cap on because Visit Jacksonville has you covered. Check out visitjacksonville.com/locals or download the Visit Jacks app and stay on the ball for all the upcoming sports events in Jacks. Go local, go sports. Jacksonville, the flip side of Florida.
Soccer fans, Michelob Ultra is going to pay somebody $90,000 to go to the FIFA World Cup 2026 final and bring the Superior Player of the Match trophy. Yes, I'm being serious right now. It's got some weight to it. This is the real thing, people. Michelob Ultra, $90,000. FIFA World Cup 2026 final. You watch the match, you get the honor of carrying the Superior Player of the Match trophy. That's a soccer fan's dream come true.
Enjoy the beautiful game with a cold Michelob Ultra, the official beer of World Cup 2026.
It's Christmas in July at Beard's Diamonds with as much as 40% off everything in the store. Maybe it's time to treat yourself to a fabulous fashion ring, necklace, or bracelet. You can do it now and save as much as 40% off Beard's already unbeatable prices. And don't forget, Beard's is the town center's locally owned diamond superstore. Don't settle for the corporate chain store experience when you can get the value, service, and attention you deserve. Don't miss Christmas in July. Save up to 40% exclusively at Beard's Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center.
Prosser here. Who are you? Really? 1010XL wants to know. Just by filling out the listener survey on 1010XL.com, you could win Jags tickets to the home opener, Gator football tickets, Jumbo Shrimp tickets, and more. All you have to do is tell us more about you. Fill out the 1010 listener survey at 1010XL.com. What kind of vehicles do you drive? Are you a business owner? What part of 1010XL do you like the most? We want to get to know you better so we can serve you better. Go to 1010XL.com, fill out the survey, and you could be a winner.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focus, fueled, fearless, Farah. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, your home for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we are glad you are with us. One division per week leading up to the start of Jaguar training camp, which now all of a sudden is just 2 short weeks away. This week, it's all about the NFC South. We will make stops in Carolina, in Tampa, and in Atlanta. But right now, let's go to the Big Easy, New Orleans, Louisiana, the new home of Travis Etienne. That'll be weird saying that. Or Travis Etienne, as you know him. But what about the New Orleans Saints? Maybe some optimism for New Orleans coming into 2026. Our guy out in New Orleans is Fletcher Mackel. He is a sports director of WDSU Television in New Orleans, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Fletcher, how we doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Fletcher, thank you as always. I mentioned optimism for New Orleans. Certainly a couple of down years, but talking to people around the league, the arrow for the Saints, at least from the outside looking in, may be starting to point upward a little bit. Is that the feeling you guys have there in New Orleans?
It absolutely is, and it feels real. So just, I talk a lot, so I apologize, but kind of for context, we were spoiled here for 15 years. We had Sean Payton and Drew Brees, one of the greatest offenses in NFL history. Brees is going into the Hall of Fame. Payton is still an offensive innovator doing great things in Denver. So every year we had a Hall of Fame elite top 10 quarterback, a top 10 coach, and there was tangible belief that the Saints were championship contenders. It didn't work out every year, certainly, but they were there. After Sean Payton and Drew Brees left in back-to-back years, Payton first, then Brees, it was Dennis Allen and Derek Carr. And then it became, hey, we're good. This is Brees, Payton, take 2. And it felt more like rhetoric than reality. It was more rhetoric than reality because Carr retired, Dennis was fired. It never seemed believable. The leaders in the organization and people would say it, but there was just nothing that ever made it real. Well, I'll say this, Kellen Moore and now Tyler Shuck, it feels real. Brandon Staley is the defensive coordinator. Some of the pieces they've added in recent drafts the last couple of years, I'm not going to sell the Saints as a 14-game winner this year, but I could sell the Saints as a 9 or 10-game winner in winning what is always a wide-open NFC South.
You know, it's interesting. You guys got Kellen Moore the same time we got Liam Cohen. Liam Cohen hit the ground running here to 13 wins and was second in NFL Coach of the Year voting. Yet from afar, I looked at the job that Kellen Moore did, and obviously it was a slow start, but it was clear in December last year New Orleans was playing terrific football, and I would imagine a lot of that excitement towards the end of the year has translated into the excitement this offseason.
Yeah, and look, realize this. Kellen Moore came after winning the Super Bowl. He got here with a roster in flux, with a quarterback who was at a fight with the organization and then retired. Then he's got a mid-round quarterback in Spencer Rattler, a guy he drafted, but that they weren't sure they wanted to start right away. It was a lot. now that he has stabilized this program and it is his program, and he and his assistant coaches like Doug Nussmeier, the offensive coordinator, and then I alluded to Staley, his defensive coordinator, now that they have settled in year 2, again, just being out there, year 1, they did the same thing the same way for a long time. It was Peyton, then it was right to Peyton's protege, so to say, Dennis Allen. They functioned the same way. They operated the same way. Their habits were the same. Last year, it was, boy, how does this look? How does this work? This is Kellen's program now. Just being out there for OTAs and minicamp, watching the operation and the functionality of everything is a different level. So, yes, again, look, Tyler Shough hasn't played a full season, but you saw a lot of really strong plays and glimpses once he took over last year, and they have insulated him with a really strong offensive line, some veterans coming back. They added David Edwards, who's a fantastic player, first with the Rams, then with the Bills. And when a guy like that comes here saying, I see something in this quarterback that reminds me of Josh Allen, I know guys say things like that, but this is a guy who lived it and watched it. And then, look, they have adding Etienne from your team and bringing on the receivers and the tight ends they have. They're not going to ask Tyler Shough to go out there and be an MVP in his first full season as a starter. But I think they've insulated him with a lot of really talented weapons. And Kellen Moore is certainly a very talented young offensive coach.
Fletcher Mackel, sports director, WDSU Television in New Orleans. He's our guy when it comes to the Saints, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL as our NFC South preview continues. Back to Tyler Shough for a moment. You know, all the talk about Cam Ward and Jackson Dart in last year's draft, and with good reason. There's certainly optimism in Nashville and New York, but obviously some optimism in New Orleans as well. Was Shough's performance towards the end of last year a surprise for you guys?
So that is a question that is kind of an eye of the beholder, so to say. I am one of these people. I grew up here in New Orleans. I grew up with the Mannings, so I've been a big Manning person my whole life. I'm still friends with the family and still, close with Archie because he lives here full time. Peyton Manning is one of these people who is, you play right away. And look, Jim Mora is an analyst at our TV station. He drafted Peyton in 98, and they said the day we drafted him, we told him he's our starting quarterback. We believe that you put the young quarterback out there, and that's how they learn. Peyton went 3-13 his first year. His second year, he went 13-3. I am a believer that Tyler Shough was ready to start, should have started day one last year, and was ready to go. And that Spencer Rattler, while a nice guy and a good player, if you'd had an established veteran, maybe I would have understood that, starting the veteran. But I felt like in a world of Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shough, just go with your guy, and your guy is Tyler Shough. So I have been a Shough guy since day one. And yes, I am encouraged by what we saw at the end of last season when he took over, that he has the ability to be a special quarterback in this league. Again, the body of work is not huge. It's less than a full season, but I think there's a real belief in the building. Jeff Ireland, the former general manager with the Miami Dolphins, has been with the Saints now for a decade. He oversees the scouting department in the draft, and they were on Shough early. They liked him. He was their guy. I do think there was probably a lot of discussion in the building. I know there was about, do we start him now or do we wait? And the decision was to wait and get him in. And look, you can say it worked out. He wasn't thrown into the fire right away, a difficult schedule right off the bat. And he got to learn on the sidelines and in practice, and then take over after the bye or right before the bye. And it worked out well for him.
I mean, clearly there is a lot of talent on the Saints. You look at Olave. I love him. The rookie Jordan Tyson. I like that 1-2 combo at tight end now with Jawan Johnson and Noah Fant. But I got to ask you about our former guy. It's hard for me to not call him ETN. I did it for 5 years. But Travis Etienne, along with Alvin Kamara, I don't know if there's a better 1-2 combo in the league if both guys are healthy. Is that going to be a 1-2 combo the entire year, or could Kamara possibly be dealt at some point?
So first to answer, or to at least talk about the first thing you alluded to, I am a born and raised New Orleanian who's lived in South Louisiana his whole life, and I have never heard it pronounced HN. So, we called him Travis ATN. When he was at Clemson, he played the national championship game here, and we have a lot of ATNs in Louisiana. So, but now calling him, I always have to catch myself, Travis HN, because obviously that's the way he pronounces it. So we want to obviously acknowledge that and respect that. That being said, I think people here, look, you got a guy coming off 1,000-yard season, a guy who produced several big plays, who's in the prime of his career. He's the guy. They signed him to be their starting bell cow running back, do it all, if you will. Alvin Kamara, it's been a really weird offseason. The Saints, from general manager Mickey Loomis to head coach Kellen Moore, have been really strangely distant from Alvin. When asked about him at all offseason, this is a guy under contract who's the greatest running back in franchise history. They have said over and over, we're figuring the roster out. That's it. They won't say, of course Alvin's here. Of course he's our guy. Of course he's great. Of course he can play a role with Travis HN. None of that. All it has been is we're figuring it out, guys. We're figuring it out. We're figuring out the roster. It's just been so weird and so awkward. So I still think there is uncertainty. And this is what I think of the situation. This is an opinion, not a fact. I think the Saints, Alvin does not live here in the offseason. He hasn't really since COVID. He lives in Miami. He doesn't come for voluntary workouts. He parachutes in quickly from mini camp because it's mandatory. My belief is if you look at the numbers the last couple of years, Alvin has really fallen off, is one of the top 10 running backs in the league. I think they still want Alvin Kamara to be here, is a secondary role player. But they need to know that he is in on that the body language will not be sulking, that there won't be head scratching on the sidelines, that Travis Etienne is the guy, and you are on this team. But you are maybe kind of how you are as a rookie when you share time with Mark Ingram. You are back to being kind of a role player, gadget player, not the fulcrum of what we do. And if he gets to training camp and they see a guy who's bought in, who's supportive, who's good with his teammates, who's helping build something, they're going to be fine with it. But if they get somebody who hasn't been here the last few off seasons, who's not engaged with the franchise, then maybe you could see him cut or traded during training camp.
Final moments, Fletcher Mackel, WDSU Television in New Orleans. He is the sports director out there in the Big Easy. Fletcher, quickly to defense, because I want to get a picture of the NFC South from you in a moment. Defensively, you mentioned Brandon Staley, the former Charger coach. How does the Saints defense look coming into the year?
So, solid. And at the end of last year, like the offense, they found their footing. Chase Young is a huge part of that. Last year, he had 10 sacks, and he missed the first 5 or 6 games of the season. He's a wrecking ball when he plays, and the potential has always been there. You're talking about a guy who was a top 5 pick, Heisman Trophy finalist. When you look at him, you're like, whoa, this guy should be the franchise leader in sacks or the league leader in sacks. So he's a big piece of it. They've got a lot of pieces on this defensive front. It's just a matter of which ones are going to step up. They re-signed Cam Jordan. He still has some tread on the tires. The secondary is probably the biggest issue. They in the draft were in on Mansour Delane, the cornerback out of LSU. Kansas City jumped in front of Washington and New Orleans to draft him. They didn't really address their cornerback position. They have Kool-Aid McKinstry, who was a high second-round draft pick. If he steps up big time this year, I think they're going to be fine. But on their defense, probably the biggest area of concern would be the secondary. But again, look, Brandon Staley did a really nice job with mixing and matching old and young last year, and it's a defense that found its footing at the end of last season, similar to the offense.
You look at the NFC South, Fletcher, as we wrap up, it was thought to be one of the worst divisions in football a year or so ago. You look at it now, there's optimism in Carolina coming off a division title. Even though Stefanski's a first-year coach in Atlanta, they think they might be pretty good depending on the quarterback situation. New Orleans feels pretty good about themselves. I guess Tampa's the only one where you might feel some regression with the loss of Mike Evans and Levante David. How do the Saints, in your opinion, stack up in the South heading into the year?
I think they stack up pretty good. And look, I agree with you. Look, I've been here in New Orleans covering the Saints. I'm from here, but I've worked at the TV station for 24 years. And yes, this division, really since that last year of Brady, it's been the definition of mediocrity. The winner every year is like 8-9, 9-8, maybe 10-7. I think Tampa's still going to be there. I'm a believer in Baker. I think they're a well-run organization that's drafted well. I just don't see their ceiling being any higher than 10 wins. So I think they're an 8-9 max of 10-win team. They're good, but they're never going to break out and be 14-3 in some juggernaut. And the rest of them are the great unknown. Carolina played better, certainly with their new coach and Bryce Young finding his footing. They won the division last year, but they won it at 8-9. So I don't know what they are. Atlanta's the one that scares me a little bit because I think Stefanski's a good coach. I think Tua and Penix both have the ability to be very good in his offense in a dome stadium with a lot of weapons. I think people could be sleeping on them, but same thing with the Saints. So again, to me, it's an absolute jump ball in kind of an unpredictable division.
Fletcher Mackel, the sports director, WDSU Television in New Orleans. He's our guy when it comes to the New Orleans Saints. Fletcher, in a lot of these division previews, I tell the person we'll talk to you soon. In your instance, we'll talk to you really soon, as the Jaguars in about a month will be out there in New Orleans for a joint practice and a game as preseason football is right around the corner. We'll do it again next month, my friend. Thank you as always.
All right, thank you.
Rick Ballou here. DraftKings is live in all 50 states. Yes, that means you, Florida. The Cup is down to its final matches. One trophy, one champion. DraftKings has you covered for every single one. The DraftKings app is now live in Florida, so whether you're catching the early kickoff before work or the late match at the bar, you are in on every minute, every match, every moment, all in one app right here in Florida, the world's biggest stage in the palm of your hand. New DraftKings customers sign up with the code 1010XL, spend $5 to get $200 in total rewards over 21 days. That's code 1010XL in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click to claim, issued in non-withdrawable. Predictions, dollars that expire in 1 year, ends July 19th. Terms, DKNG.co/predictions promo.
Bringing the heat, throwing gas, tossing aspirins, blowing smoke, zinging BBs, firing missiles, zipping darts, threading the needle. Let's see if my colleague in the booth here has anything to add.
1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Ballou here for Spunez Vision. Why Spunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Spunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Spunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Spunez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Care you can see.
ET here for Encore Research. And this summer, discover the power of research. Clinical studies are helping researchers find better ways to prevent, diagnose, and treat disease. And community members like you make it all possible. Your participation could help drive the next generation of healthcare discoveries. Find out how you can make a difference at EncoreDocs.com. Research moves forward because of volunteers like you. Let's build a healthier Jacksonville together.
Let's celebrate the start of a new season.
You get to hear what the coaches and players of the ACC have to say about the new season.
1010XL's coverage of ACC kickoff is fitted by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters, Local Union 234.
Hunting season in Northeast Florida is just around the corner, and Green Acres Sporting Goods has been serving Jacksonville hunters for over 55 years. And right now, you can lock in a summer deal on an AR-style 12-gauge shotgun for just $299. And while you're there, check out the largest archery pro shop in Northeast Florida and test shoot the newest bows by Hoyt and Matthews. Shop today at Green Acres Sporting Goods.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Frank Frangie here with Coach Delaney from Coyle Fencing. For years, your offenses have been putting up a lot of yards and points at Fletcher. I hear Coyle also gains a lot of yards in the fence world.
Yes, Frank. Coyle Fencing has been serving the Jacksonville community and general contractors for 99 years. We fence tens of thousands of commercial and residential yards, all while maintaining an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau.
99 years?
That's right. Some might call it a dynasty.
To schedule your appointment, visit CoyleJacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com.
Renewal by Anderson is celebrating America's 250th anniversary by giving $250 off every window and door. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. You're getting American craftsmanship and their signature service. This offer ends July 31st. Renewal by Anderson, proud partners of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
There's no better time than now to buy your football season parking pass from Tailgaters. Complete with on-site restaurant, indoor restrooms, and all-day security. Tailgaters parking selling out. Log on to tailgatorsparking.com today.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. If you have a school, team, or group that would benefit from a team store, you're in luck because we now offer team stores. Check us out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all. Game on.
Let's kick some ass.
1010XL. 1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.